What if I told you that right now oil should be $150 a barrel, but it's not, it's 70. I'm Sean Pruitt, owner of Kingdom Exploration, and today I'm going to show you exactly how the world's most powerful people are manipulating oil prices to protect their trillions. Last week I warned you what was coming. Since that video, oil prices have jumped 10%. That's not luck, that's knowing the game. Today, I'm exposing the biggest lie in energy markets, a lie so massive that without it, your gas would cost double. The stock market would crash and the global economy would collapse overnight. Let me explain something. Oil is the only commodity on the earth that could fund every Middle East war and destroy the US dollar economy in the same day. Think about that. The most powerful people in the world, billionaires, the hedge funds, the governments, their entire wealth depends on keeping oil prices low. If oil hits its true price, they lose everything. The stock market crashes. Your 401k becomes worthless. The banking system collapses. That's why they need you to believe America has endless shale oil. That's why they created the perfect lie machine. The EIA, the U.S. Energy Information Administration. It's your warm milk and your teddy bear designed to make you feel safe at night while the real numbers scream danger. Let me show you exactly how wrong the EIA has been year after year. In 2020, EIA predicted 7.725 million barrels per day production for U.S. shale, but the actual production was 7.6 million. Rystad predicted it correct at 7.6 million. Exactly right. In 2021, the EIA predicted growth to 12 million barrels, but the actual production was 11.2 million. EIA wrong by 800,000 barrels per day. Somebody needs to get fired up there. Rystad called this slowdown perfectly. In 2022, the EIA predicted 12.4 million barrels per day, actual 11.9 million. EIA wrong by 500,000 barrels per day. Rystad warned for 18 months about declining productivity. In 2023, the biggest lie, EIA had to cut 542,000 barrels from their December prediction alone, then cut 443,000 for January, then cut 250,000 for February. That's a combined 1.2 million barrels they were lying about in 3 months. You can't make this big of a mistake. Oops, they're lying to us. Rystad had been saying production was flat while the EIA claimed growth. In 2024, the EIA predicted 13.5 million continuing through 2025, but the actual already peaked and declining. EIA wrong by over 1 million barrels by their own June admission. Rystad called the peak 2 years ago. 2025, the EIA finally admits production dropping from 13.5 to 13.3 million, first decline forecast in a decade. Rystad has been warning about this for 3 years. Add it up. The EIA has been wrong by millions of barrels, not thousands, millions. Let me be straight with you. I've called for higher oil prices before. They didn't happen. You know why? Because the markets prefer the lie over the truth. They are all in on it. Every hedge fund, every bank, every major investor, they need EIA's fairy tale to keep their game going. When you are managing trillions, you don't want reality. You want the comfortable lie that keeps the music playing. But here's what's changing. Oil demand is growing way more than they're telling you. Trump is reshaping global markets with his America First trade moves. And we haven't even seen the fruits yet. The mainstream media and the radical left wants you to believe his chess moves will fail. But experts are singing a different tune. Goldman Sachs just admitted manufacturing reshoring to America could add 2 million barrels per day of oil demand by 2027. That's not in any forecast. JP Morgan's commodity chief says the reindustrialization of America will be the biggest demand shock since China's rise. They are predicting 108 million barrels per day global demand by 2026, 5 million more than the EIA admits. Bank of America, every factory returning to America needs energy. Every chip plant, every steel mill, every manufacturing facility, They run on oil and gas, not unicorn farts or fairy dust. Trump's reversal of the Green New scam, it's spreading like wildfire. Germany just announced they're keeping coal plants open. Japan's restarting oil-fired generation. Even California quietly approves new gas plants. When America leads with energy dominance, the world follows. Here's what nobody's talking about: AI and data centers. Microsoft's latest AI facility uses as much energy as 250,000 homes. Google AI push will double their energy consumption by 2026. Every ChatGPT query uses 10 times the energy of a Google search. Where's that power coming from? Natural gas turbines burning oil products. Solar power panels can't run 24/7 data centers. Bird choppers can't power constant computing. Elon Musk himself said, "We are heading for an electricity shortage by 2025 that will make the chip shortage look like nothing." And what powers emergency generators for every data center? Diesel. Good old-fashioned oil. China's not just back, they're roaring back. Their oil imports hit 11.5 million barrels per day last month. That's a record during a supposed slowdown. India, they are adding 1 million barrels of demand every year. By 2030, they'll consume more oil than all of Europe combined. But here's the kicker. Southeast Asia, Vietnam, Indonesia, Thailand, they are industrializing at China's 2050 pace. That's another 3 million barrels per day by 2027 that nobody's counting. Africa's population doubles by 2050. Each person moving from poverty to middle class adds oil demand. The EIA pretends this doesn't exist. Intel, building $20 billion of chip fabs in Ohio, needs oil for plastic chemicals transport. Taiwan Semiconductor, $40 billion in Arizona. Massive energy demand. Ford and GM bringing battery plants back. Each facility needs a gas plant to power it. Steel production returning. Every ton of steel needs 3 barrels of oil equivalent energy. The Committee for Economic Development says reshoring will add 5 million manufacturing jobs by 2030. Each job represents 100 barrels of oil consumption per a year. That's 500 million new barrels annually just from American jobs. And with Shale declining, with that 40% annual decline rate, with wells dying after 1 year, where will the oil come from? Russia being bombed daily, Iran under sanctions and threatening war, Saudi already pumping near capacity. Offshore takes 5 to 7 years to develop. There is no replacement for U.S. shale. And when the markets finally can't ignore the truth anymore, when the physical shortage hits, the price won't go to 90. It'll go to 150 minimum, maybe 200. Here's what terrifies me about shale, and should terrify you. Shale wells lose 65 to 80% of their production in the first year. Let that sink in. After 1 year, your well is almost dead. Conventional wells, they decline 5 to 15% annually. Shale is dying 15 times faster. This creates what we call the treadmill to hell. In the Permian Basin alone, we are losing 1.5 million barrels per day every year to decline. That's a 40% annual decline rate, just to keep production flat, not growing. Just flat, we need to drill 7,200 new wells every single year. IHS market data shows that in 2019, the Permian started at 3.8 million barrels per day. By year end, without new drilling, it would have crashed to 2.3 million. We are running just to stand still. The global oil industry spends $500 billion annually, 90% of all investment just to offset natural declines. If companies stopped drilling today, global production would fall by 5.5 million barrels today. That's Brazil and Norway's entire output gone. Art Berman, one of the few honest petroleum geologists, which I don't agree with everything he says, especially about the green technology stuff, says wells drilled in 2023 will produce half of what 2019 wells produced. The sweet spots are gone. We are using wider straws to suck out what's left. getting higher initial rates but faster declines. It's like maxing out your credit cards. Looks good today, disaster tomorrow. An oil executive told the Dallas Fed shale will tip over in 5 years and U.S. production will be down 20 to 30% quickly. When it does, oil prices in the late 20s will be something to behold. Without U.S. shale, we'd already be at $150 per barrel. Here's why. Russia invades Ukraine. That should add $30 to oil. Iran, under sanctions, another $20. Middle East tensions, $50 more. But shale has been our energy dominance card, flooding markets with 12 million barrels per day to keep prices suppressed. It's the only reason you are not paying $6 per gallon right now. But Rystad's latest report reveals the terrifying truth. And remember, Rystad Energy is the only company that has estimated the production of shale correctly when the EIA is completely wrong. Their latest report reveals the terrifying truth. Shale investment is dropping 8% in 2025. Every basin except the Permian has already peaked. The Permian's growth collapsed 90% in 2 years. Decline rates hitting 35% without new drilling. Break-even prices rising to $95 by 2035. Even if we unleash American energy at 60 rigs per month, Rystad says it won't matter. The geology doesn't care about politics. The easy oil is gone. Below $65 per barrel, nobody's drilling. At $70, catastrophic underinvestment. Now, let me show you what could blow oil prices sky high tomorrow. Russian infrastructure under attack. Ukrainian drones have been hammering Russian oil infrastructure for over a year since January 2024. They've hit at least 16 of Russia's 38 refineries. September 2025 alone, the Pisky refinery hit 3 times, Karishki refinery burning. Ryazan hit multiple times. The Atlantic Council reports these strikes have knocked out 10% of Russia's refinery capacity, over 1 million barrels per day gone. Russia's crude throughput has dropped significantly. They've extended their gasoline export ban through September 2025 because they are hoarding what's left. If Ukraine escalates and hits Novorossiysk or other major export terminals, we could lose another 2 million barrels instantly. That's $30 added to oil overnight. The U.S. Navy says that Iran has unlawfully seized at least 5 commercial vessels in recent years. June 2025, 2 tankers collided near Hormuz amid electronic warfare and jeeps jamming. Ships are experiencing interference, some reversing course. Iran threatened in June to close the strait. That's 20 million barrels per day, 20% of the global oil. They haven't done it yet. But if they do, hypothetically, oil hits $120 minimum. Iran's shadow fleet, hundreds of aging tankers operating dark, transponders off, false flags, moves their sanctioned oil to China. The U.S. Treasury just sanctioned more of these ghost ships in December of 2024. These vessels are accidents waiting to happen. If Hormuz closes for even a week, hypothetically, we're looking at catastrophic price spikes. The wild cards no one sees coming. Venezuela collapsed, 800,000 barrels gone. Cyber attack on pipelines, millions trapped. China demand surge post-stimulus and 1 million barrels overnight. OPEC says enough and cuts 2 million barrels off the market. The 8-month flatline in U.S. production that Rystad predicted, it's happening right now. For 8 straight months, lower 48 production has been struck. The growth is over. When Shale peaks and Rystad says it's happening, now we lose our only buffer against $100 oil. The safety net that's protected us since George W. Bush is shredding. Markets are finally waking up. The 10% jump since my last video, that's smart money moving. They see what's coming. Because here's the brutal math. We need to drill 7,200 wells just to stay flat. Each well costs more, produces less, and dies faster than the last. We are cannibalizing our future production to keep the lights on today. The EIA will keep lying, telling you we'll hit 13.5 million barrels, but Rystad knows the truth. We're heading for a cliff, and when we go over that cliff, when the buffers are gone and reality hits, oil doesn't go to $90. It goes to 150. So here's your choice. Believe the EIA's bedtime story, keep sleeping while your wealth evaporates, or see what Rystad's been screaming. The Shale miracle is dying. The world's oil buffer is cracking, and the powers that be are running out of lies. That 10% move last week, that was just the appetizer. The main course is coming. What happens when the treadmill stops? When we can't drill fast enough to offset decline. When Iran closes Hormuz. When Russia loses another million barrels of oil. I'll tell you what happens. The greatest oil shock in history. And those still believing the EIA's fairy tales will be destroyed. Listen, Google's algorithm hates this truth about oil. They don't want you knowing what's happening. The establishment swamp doesn't want you seeing behind the curtain. That's why I need your help to spread this message. Share this video right now. Send it to every patriot who needs to know the truth. Subscribe and hit that notification bell because when oil explodes higher, you'll want to be the first to know. And comment below, tell me what you think is coming. Are you seeing the signs? What's happening in your area? The algorithm tries to bury videos like this that expose the truth, but if enough of us share it, comment on it, engage with it, we can break through their suppression. All right, guys, I'm Sean Pruitt, president of Kingdom Exploration, and we will continue to share the truth about oil. All right, we'll talk soon. Thanks.